It's time to die. I'm just kidding. Not yet. It's not yet time to die because, guys, we're talking about near-death experiences, but we thought you all thought it was time to die. You did, Jonathan.
Yeah, for a moment I was like, oh my God, what is my life?
That's Jonathan Hinman, guys, my co-host. We're going to be talking about times we almost died, but really, we're going to turn the tables here on this episode, and we're going to be talking mostly about your guys' experiences. I want to hear about our audience when they've almost died. Yeah. What kind of shenanigans they have gotten themselves into.
All sorts of stuff. We got lots of head trauma.
I haven't read any of these yet, so I'm very excited to dig
intense.
in. It's intense. Jonathan has screened our things. I want the bloodiest, nastiest stuff with food.
Most fucked up injuries.
Oh, yes. I want to see gory shit, guys. I'm hoping y'all got banged up and lived to tell the tale. Now, we were talking earlier about what a near-death experience is. Now, I think it's important before we dive into these stories. What is your take on a near-death, your definition of a near-death experience?
I mean, obviously, you almost die. However you come out, unscathed or with some lasting trauma, it's like, no, I was, I guess, you put it like I was a coin toss away from this. It was so close to near death, but I think it's not just I don't count the times like a semi whizzed by me and I'm like, whoa. That was close. It's like it's got to be like
distinctly. You lived in a moment thinking that death was
correct.
At hand.
It's less the event and the probability of death, and more the emotional state you were put in.
I think that's where you hit it on the head. It's about having your mind descend into that reality of. I am going to die.
Exactly.
And then start reevaluating. And we were talking earlier, Jonathan. You were saying we really almost envy. I know I definitely almost envy people who have had this because you hear about these stories. And even though I've never had a full-on near-death experience, I've had times where I've almost died, but I've never had a full-on near-death experience. But I do understand what other people mean when they say they've gotten so much out of it. I understand. You reevaluate your priorities. Life is suddenly different. You have a new lease on it. You go out and you live. I almost died. I'm going to do this. I'm going to change this.
It's always a life-altering, very positive thing, and it's so weird to be like, I would like to almost die because I don't mean that.
No, exactly. It's a sudden sense. It is a sudden enlightenment, a profound enlightenment. Probably the most enlightening thing one could come across in your whole life, and. And I think that near-death experiences, now we don't necessarily need to have one to understand that life is precious and that we only get one of them. Right. I don't care what your religion is. At least, even if you're going to be reincarnated, you're only going to be this person one time, and so it's important.
At the very least, yeah.
At the very least, yeah. So, I don't know. I think that, but I see both sides. I think it's important to value life while we have it, but I think it's also kind of cool to get that sense of, oh my gosh, I almost lost everything, and let me now evaluate what I would have lost. And in doing so, you kind of have a more important, or at least a more grounded sense of what's important and what's not. Your list of priorities is much more organized, I should say.
How weird is it that is a clarifying experience for people?
It's weird. It is very weird.
It's like, really? So you're telling me that you had to almost die to realize X, Y, Z?
Right.
What the fuck? I mean, it makes sense. I believe that, of course, that's real.
Maybe, perhaps it's because...
Why is the world this way, Brandon?
It's not fair, Jonathan. This world's not a fair place. Maybe it's because they like I said, they descended their whole mindset into this new reality, this hell of realities, which is my time is suddenly... It went from, I don't know when I'm going to die, to I have 5 minutes, I have 1 minute, I have whatever, and this is it. And once you suddenly accept that your life is gone, you have theoretically, whether or not you are happy about it, cut off ties to everything. You almost have to say goodbye in your head. I imagine, I've never really been in this state of mind, so I don't know, but I imagine if a plane's fucking going down and I'm in a seat and the first thing in my head is, God damn it, this X is going to live longer than me, and God damn it, this person's going to do, and I'm just going to start, I'm going to start going off on just all of the things I wish I could have said to people, all the things, and then the plane levels back. And we're fine. That was just a bit of turbulence. And now I have this sudden sense of enlightenment. I got to go out and kill my exes. No, but seriously, I do understand when I speak. I'm speaking for both of us, hopefully, but we understand what it means to have a near-death experience. And while we don't wish we can almost die, I think having that forced enlightenment upon you, which you really couldn't organically come up with unless you were just thrown into something happenstance outside your control, it's a bit of wisdom, or I don't know, self-lathered wisdom, I guess, because you're not learning from anything.
It's just clarity of things that already existed. It's like now you know. You're like, wow. For a brief moment, I only thought of my wife and kids. For example, I thought of X, Y, Z, and it's like, wow. Well, then all this stuff that I've been allowing to stress me out is fucking meaningless. And it's like that's a very valuable thing for you to know on a deeper level.
And I'm curious. Like that. I'm curious to know who we become in our 11th hour. When we only have are we a hero? And I really feel like we won't be able to know until it happens.
No,
are we the hero? Do we help people in need? Are we going out on our own? Are we, saving our own skin?
Do you push the old lady down and jump out the window?
Do we become homicidal?
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Who knows who we become? And I've always wondered that. Now, see, I just have to tell you.
Just don't know.
When I travel, I always book the exit row seat. I love, and those of you who love legroom, it is the first class on a budget seat. You basically have to agree to help out the people on the plane who need to. You basically have to help everyone exit the plane. But in the plus size, you get all this legroom because you're in an exit row,
and you get most of the publicity in the event of a successful crash.
You do. I didn't think about that. So maybe now my 11th hour self will change.
Okay, before that.
I always make a joke to the person I'm sitting next to. If I'm on an airplane and I get a good vibes from whoever I'm sitting next to, I always have my go-to jokes, my icebreakers. And one of the icebreakers when I'm sitting next to the exit row is I always make some sort of like, yeah, right. Because they say, please, you guys understand you need to help people out, right? And they go, yeah. And then I always look at the person next to me. I'm like, we are jumping out of this thing. And like, and usually it gets a laugh. But I have offended a couple people because it's like that's it. People need help. And I'm like okay. Well, who knows what we're going to be in that moment? When you're about to die, I don't know. Maybe you'll start eating out your husband and get a sudden sense of happiness. I don't know. Maybe you'll fucking. I don't know. Maybe I will be a hero and help people out.
It is kind of funny because you're just like, sure, I'll tell you what I'm willing to do in an extreme circumstance where we really have no idea how we're going to react.
Yeah.
Sure.
Sure. I have no idea how. Sure. In the event when I'm suddenly about to die and have a moment to reevaluate everything I've ever lived for or worked toward, sure, I'll get the door and gently help out these strangers who were probably hating the smell of my farts to begin with. Yeah, I love these people.
Floaty, got it. Floaty. Yeah, definitely.
No, well, you know what? Enough about me and enough certainly about you, Jonathan. We want to talk about the stories of some of our listeners who have submitted. We got so many of these things coming in. A lot of people, you almost died so many times apparently. I haven't read any of these.
I'm surprised you have any fans at all.
I'm surprised I have any fans at all. I know I should be one of these near-death experiences. Just who's the first person that we have here?
So here we have Katie B.
Katie B. I think it's Kate B.
Here we have Kate B.
Kate B. Oh, yes. Hey, Brandon and friends. Huge fan of everything you guys make. It makes life a little less terrible, and that's a wonderful thing. Well, thank you, Kate. She says, anyways, here's my near-death experience. And I'm talking as Kate. Kate B. Or in retrospect, not that close to death, but I guess as close as anyone, as I've ever been. Okay, so last year in June, and again, speaking as Kate, I didn't have a baby, but Kate, I had a baby. Yay. But the business of having babies is, despite the marvels of modern medicine, it is still a tricky and sometimes dangerous business. Everything was going great, and skipping gross stuff, my daughter was born.
Thank you.
Oh, gosh. That's the only reason I was reading this story. I wanted to get to all that dirty. A few minutes later, they decide to make me get out of bed for some reason. So I do. But apparently, I had lost so much blood that I lost consciousness in the bathroom. I come to, and there are 5 or 6 nurses around me. I hope they're guys, and I hope they're cute. Waving, that was me, not Kate, waving, smelling salts in my face, and helping me off the floor. Apparently, I had come close to hemorrhaging to death, but the only thing I could think of in that moment was to say, you guys, doesn't my baby look so fucking Asian? My husband is Chinese. Then I followed it with, you guys are like a bunch of bitchy sorority sisters, and I'm like a drunk girl passing out on the floor. Also, please don't make me wear the underwear that Ali Wong says looks like the shit pears come in. They had no idea what I was talking about. I guess I don't either, except the part where my baby being Asian. Yeah, that's true. Well,
Jesus.
Wow. Well, congratulations on having a little Asian, half Asian. I don't know what Kate is. But
half congratulations.
Half congratulations on your half Asian baby. But goddamn, she passed out and the nurses had to rub bath salts in her face. That's
not cool.
That is so. How hemorrhaging? What is the definition of hemorrhaging?
So you're bleeding internally.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, isn't that weird? Like childbirth still can kill you.
I know. Life itself can kill you. Jesus Christ. Well, let's see what else we have. So let's get a good story here. This next one comes from someone called Beware of Me, and their photo is a picture of me. That's creepy. One time I went out to eat with my dad and sister to a Chinese buffet. I'm severely allergic to dairy, and I'll die if I eat it. Holy shit, Jonathan. Can you imagine eating dairy? Dairy's in everything. It's like one step harder than being vegetarian, but a little less hard than being vegan. So I've lost some sympathy, but I'm still sympathetic. But it's, well, I got to tell you, as someone who has had dairy, sour cream is incredible. I'm severely allergic to dairy, and I will die if I eat it, and I must have accidentally ate it. My lips swelled up, and my throat started to hurt, and I felt so very hot. So I took some Benadryl and a puff of my inhaler to calm down because I also have asthma. Wow, my brother has severe allergic reactions and asthma too. It's interesting. I'm reading this whole thing and it's like my brother has gone through these as a kid, and I know how scary these can be because it's like, oh, we're just having dinner, and then suddenly death is kissing us right on the mouth, and it's like what? And everyone's looking, and you're trying to. It's a terrifying situation to be in. I started texting and calling my mom, and we both started freaking out. Moms just freak out even if you tell them you're having a good day. And if I hadn't, I would have died or had to use my EpiPen. After that, I'm never eating out again. Very scary. And I hope you read this. Well, I did read it, and it is very scary. And yes, the EpiPen. Oh my God, Jonathan, have you ever had to use an EpiPen on someone?
No. Yeah, is it like in Pulp Fiction?
It's like in Pulp Fiction. It's a thing you stab into. Oh my God, you got to stab it into their ass or their thigh or some fatty part. Don't quote me on this. I only have a brother who's deathly allergic to peanuts, and I should have known this my whole life. But apparently,
don't perform this based on the way I describe it.
You know, I used to work. Yeah, right. Don't perform the Brandon Rogers way.
It's in the eye, I think.
It's in the eye and the tongue, in the penis hole. I think is where it goes.
Oh my God.
No, when I was doing this web series, this theater class series, one of the actresses, she was deathly allergic to peanuts, just like my brother. So I always, because we bring food on set, and I was always very careful to make sure that there was no peanuts on set, not just for her or my brother, but just anyone who has peanut. No one shakes to your hand and says, "Hi, I have a peanut allergy." Right. You just have to assume that nuts are that someone could possibly die from that. So I always asked her whenever she's on set, I'm like, "You have your EpiPen with you, right?" Anyone who has a peanut allergy, they got to have their their thing with them, otherwise, And she said no, and I said, "Why not?" She said, "I don't like needles." I said, "So what happens if you go into?" She goes, "I will die." I'm like, "Are you kidding?" She's like, "I will die before a needle goes into me." And you know what? That's
bad choice.
I want to know what a near-death experience. So I fed her a peanut.
I gave her the gift of clarity.
I gave her the gift of insight. Of hindsight. No, she's still alive. She's still well. I saw her recently, and she hasn't eaten peanuts apparently. So good on her. Okay. But that is scary. That's a form of near-death experience, and it could attack you in any setting. It could attack you. Oh my God! Can you imagine going into like an anaphylactic shock on an airplane? Can you imagine that? Or just somewhere where you're on a ride at Disneyland, or just somewhere where you can't get to anywhere easily. Yeah. Somewhere where I don't know, you're in a sensory deprivation. I don't know. No,
we were watching some GoPro near-death experiences, and the scuba diver is just like, if something goes wrong down in the scuba diver, when you're underwater, it's like, you fucked.
Oh my God! Yeah, we were watching. It was a compilation of near-death experiences, and at the top of every clip, Jonathan and I were constantly trying to figure out, okay, what's going to happen? Who's going to die, or who's going to almost die in this clip? And we suggest you guys watch it. Go on YouTube, watch near-death experience, GoPro footage of near-death experience, like first-person near-death.
Yeah, it's also good. It's a good way to think about how to be safe too.
It does. It does.
It's like,
the drive back to my house after this is going to be a terrifying one, because I'm just going to be constantly thinking, fuck, this is going to collapse on me. This truck is going to squash me.
Everyone looks like they're going to run this red light.
Oh my God. The intersection videos terrify the shit out of me because a lot of the intersection accidents, if you've seen footage of intersection accidents, a lot of them you just cannot predict. And it's like one person to kill 5 cars in one intersection. And so every time I go through an intersection now in
and you're there all the time. It's like oh, scuba diver, like, okay, well, I won't go scuba diving.
Right.
But here it's like that's outside my house.
My God, can you believe? I mean, Jesus Christ. And you know what? Sometimes a near-death experience doesn't have to, you're not necessarily being harmed in it. I imagine, and not to take it here, but I think we have to go here on this subject,
okay.
But like the Aurora Theater or just any school shooting, anything like that, even though you might not have been like, for a moment, you know what? I will take that back. There was a near-death. If I'm considering this a near-death experience, there was a time in my high school where there was a gun on campus, and someone had brought a gun, and we go through drills all the time. You hear the loudspeaker come on. Hey, we have an earthquake. Pretend like we're having an earthquake. Pretend like there's a shooter. Pretend
be serious.
Hey, act like this. Don't leave your backpack. Fuck. I would always if I was in this new, I would be grabbing my backpack and booking it. I would not be lining up single file so I can get mowed down by an automatic rifle out in the fucking field. I'm out of that school. I'm not telling you guys what to do. You listen to your authority figures in school and listen to whoever knows best. But I'm just saying, when I was in high school, I remember thinking, going out there, I am out of this fucking place. Because, we're all out in a field lining up. It's like, if there is a killer, well, here we all are for him. Like, great. So when I was in school, I always had
I think they changed protocol on that.
I think they have. I'm pretty sure that's not the protocol. Well, I don't know. I'm curious what the protocol is now.
Barricade the doors.
Well, here's what so in my junior year, so I said there was a gun, or a kid with a gun, or I forget exactly what it was, but I believe someone brought a gun to school, and the loudspeaker came on, and it's funny because the protocol wasn't, or like what we did was not protocol. What we did was it was locking the doors, barricading the classroom. And I remember hearing the teacher's voice, or the administration office, her voice on the loudspeaker. You could hear fear in her voice, and that's what scared me. Before I even knew what she was talking about, I knew she was scared about. So I could hear other voices in the background, like scuttling in the background, like people, talking frantically. And she was like, "This is not a drill. There is a gun on campus, or there's a student with a gun." She's like, "Barricade the doors, lock the door." And I just went into immediate, I turned into Michael Scott in a single moment, and I grabbed all my shit and I ran under the teacher's desk, which is this giant metal piece of shit, this huge metal industrial desk. And I went under there, and a couple other kids had the same idea. And I just remember we looked at each other and we nodded, and we're like this is the sense of right, wouldn't you go under here too? And because our protocol was we had to all go under our desks. Or they told us all to go under our own desks, but that's not going to protect you from shit.
Yeah. They're like, it's just a top.
Right. It's just a piece of wood over my head and some metal that keeps me under it, but that traps me there. It's a cage. I'm putting myself in a fucking cage with books.
So horrifying.
And the horrifying part, though, was hearing the students who were left outside in the hallway trying to get back in, and they're pounding on the door, and the teacher's like, "No one!" She's by the door, no. And there's a piece of glass on the door. You've seen them. Every high schools have. It's a metal door, and there's one narrow vertical window of glass above the doorknob. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
And just my entire time just watching that thing, I'm like, if anyone's hand fucking comes through that thing, I'm grabbing the fire extinguisher and breaking their fucking arm, or I'm I'm just thinking, because it's still preventable while they haven't grabbed the doorknob, and I'm immediately going into this huge survival mode. And I don't know, I think that's the guy I would be in the 11th hour. I think I would be the guy who's do whatever it takes to not die, and by any means necessary. And
probably accidentally help a lot of people.
Well, I mean, at least get credit for it. But I think so. Yeah, that was the closest I've. Anyways. Not to sidebar too much, but let's go into this next story here.
You got one from Isabel Fain.
Isabel Fain. Let's see how she almost died. I used to sail an optimist boat and won regatta.
Whatever that means.
Yeah, optimist. But I think she's just being.
Those are Transformers. Nice try.
She's being positive about what she sails, or it could be a Transformer boat, a ship. I turned the boat to go around the marker. She's talking all these nautical terms. I think we got a pirate here. I don't know who this is. But when I did, it snapped the rudder handle, the steering mechanism off. So my boat started spinning and the waves started crashing over and filling up the boat. I thought I was going to die. Mind you, I was like in 7th grade. What are you? Do you have parents with you? Are you? First of all, are you in the middle of the ocean? She says a lake or seventh grader in the middle of some, I'm assuming, large body of water on a boat. Let me keep reading because this story.
It's not a pool.
These parents, the parents are to blame here. Yeah. But the sail kept rotating as well, which is extremely dangerous because if the bottom pole hits you in the head, you can get knocked out. Certainly, I believe that. So all the while, I had to ninja duck under this thing about every 10 seconds. I was soaking, sinking, and spinning uncontrollably. After a couple minutes of this and panicking, my dad came over on a motorboat. Thank you, Dad. Well, let's see there. That's good. The dad came and helped out after she almost died. I thought I was saved, but no. He told me that the other racers thought it was 2 laps around the course and it was only 1. He told me to go across the finish line and drove off. He completely ignored my desperate request for some tape and left me to keep spinning. I had to climb back off the boat by myself and shove my hand in the freezing winter water, and turn. This isn't what are you doing on a boat in the winter?
Big mistake.
Big mistake, fella. Sis, Isabel. Eventually, the boat stopped spinning. So, with the other hand, I had to furiously bail out all the water so my boat didn't sink. I got half the water out so I could finally pull in the sail and go towards the finish line. I got first place. Wow! And you lived.
And you lived. More importantly,
well, that's to be debated.
Secondarily,
but you won. That's good. Let's see. Let's. All right. This next one is from
I like this.
Lily McAdam.
McAdam. That's Lily McAdam.
Yes. This happened a couple months ago. I live on a hill that's completely covered in aloe vera. If you try and walk down, you'll probably slip. Now, aloe vera.
Yeah.
Like the cactus? I thought the aloe vera was the juice inside the cactus.
It's actually not a cactus. It grows around cacti and stuff, but the aloe vera is that like triangular leaved green one that's...
Yeah, I thought that was a cactus. It's
not. It's just like a juicy plant.
The juice on the inside, she slips on it, but that's like saying... I slipped on lemon juice next to a lemon tree. Was there juice already on the ground?
The aloe vera is different than...
Oh, I see. Okay. Well, I don't know how
Oh, no, yeah, I see what you're saying. I don't know.
Look, I only know how one plant works.
Look, it falls, a big leaf falls off and it oozes itself out.
You know, I got to tell you though, I love the smell of aloe vera gel, the green bottle. Anyways, I didn't think I'd make it to the bottom where there was a cactus and other thorn bush. I sat down on the board and tried to get to move it, but I was stuck. What board is she talking about? I skipped a whole bunch of this story, Jonathan. One day I thought it was a good idea to ride my brother's surfboard, ride it down the hill. Okay, so let me just paraphrase here.
Right,
so there's a slippery hill of aloe vera slime from this plant.
Whole hill, aloe vera hill.
Aloe vera hill. It sounds beautiful.
Yeah.
And
sounds like Mario-ish.
She's very Mario-ish, yeah. And she got her brother's surfboard, and she wants to ride it down the hill.
Yeah, don't mind the cacti at the bottom.
Don't mind the cacti at the bottom. Now, see, here's an important... here's a pro tip, you guys. If you're going to go down a hill, you got to see where you're going to land. That's just how it is. That's just... I don't make the rules. That's just hills. She said, I sat down on the board and tried to get it to move, but it was stuck. You got to put more aloe vera under there. Tried moving back and forth until suddenly it went at a steady pace. At first it was fun. But then I realized I wouldn't be able to stop. Sorry, I'm trying to animate this a little bit. Before I could drag my feet on the ground, I came crashing toward the cactus. I accepted death as I crashed into a bush next to a huge pile of cacti. Shit. Next thing I knew, I was on the ground with scratches all over my arms and legs. Thankfully, I was okay, but the whole thing was terrifying. You know, I will say, if I was zooming down a hill toward a whole bushel of cacti, I wouldn't think I'm about to die, but holy fuck, I would be terrified for how much pain I'm about to endure.
Yeah.
That has got to be what, and
my face.
When I was when I was a kid, I fell into a rose bush when I was a child, and I'll never forget how painful that was.
Oh God,
Jesus, I can only imagine cacti. Our next story here is from a gentleman named Quentin Barantino. He says, when I was 5, I was the type of kid to get distracted by everything. As was I. I was at home sitting on my mom's bed in the basement watching TV on one of those big-ass box TVs, maybe 90. I remember those things. You remember those things that would project? It was like a projector inside of a giant plexiglass cube that would...
Big CRT.
And if anyone had... And you can only see the image from one section of the room. And if anyone had those TVs, they were doing well. I remember that. Anyways, the TV was about 90 pounds. Yeah, that's undercutting it. But my dumbass leaned over to turn it up, but ended up falling off the bed and knocking the TV down, causing it to hit my head. The glass from the TV impaled my head, caused bleeding of the brain. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Causing me to pass out. Well, geez, I would hope so.
You want to be asleep for that.
I do. Yeah, don't want to be awake for that shit. From what my mom told me and the news, wow, the paramedics didn't take me in because they thought it was not bad. We took a taxi to the ER and they were like, if she kept bleeding, they took me out to the ER. Oh my God, it's a female. I've been saying this whole time. Quentin, I'm sorry, Quentin.
Quentin, we're so sorry.
Well, just every time I said, imagine I said shh. Yeah. We took a taxi to the ER where they're like, if she kept bleeding out like this, she would have died. But they had to shave my head to fix it and get the glass out. Jesus Christ. There's still a chunk in my head. Oh my God.
That explains being a Brandon Rogers fan.
Yeah, no, certainly, at the very least. Oh, my God.
Yeah, holy shit.
And there's a piece of glass in your head. Oh, my God. Can you get it out? Can you just make a small incision and just squeeze that glass out like a fucking pimple? For me, just get it out of there. What if you... Can you imagine having a piece of glass in your fucking head?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Quentin. I'm not disgusted. Ugh.
Yeah, I would forever be nervous that too much of if I bonk my head, then the glass in my brain will shatter.
Is it in? I don't think it's in the brain. I think it's just under the tissue.
Okay, good. Let's just assume that.
I think if I could be wrong, but I think that the damage.
I prefer
internal.
it in the brain.
Oh fuck, the brain! Can you imagine? Our whole souls, every part of our identity is just in one mushy thing in our head. Isn't that weird?
That is weird.
And when that mushy thing stops getting oxygen, then it's just gone. Then we're just dead. Okay, we got a Sophia Rutherford. That's actually Sophia Rutherford. That sounds like an actress's name, doesn't it? She should.
You may as well act with a name like that.
She should apply for one of the Oscars. I got ran over by a truck. Oh my God! What a way to open an email. I got ran over by a truck.
This is going to be serious.
Near death experience. My friend came to pick me up at 2 a.m, and I thought it would be funny if he got a video of me jumping out of the car while it was moving. When I jumped out, the tire caught my foot and dragged me under the truck, and the tire ran over my back. Sophia, what the fuck do you look like today? What do you look like? Tell me that. How do...
I look like 2 half people.
Right. I'm imagining her from the guy from Beetlejuice who slides around in and out of the cracks. The flat guy who's been run over. I am that is insane. How do you live to tell that tale? How is your rib cage a cage made of organic material, not shattered in 50 pieces? I don't understand.
I just flexed real hard. Truck went right over it. No problem.
Pro flex. Yeah. It was.
I don't know. I'm just oh.
I don't know, dude. Well, you know what? I'm so glad that you're still alive, and you would have died if you were literally anyone else. I feel like if you were or laying in a slightly different. I don't know. Damn. Do you got the video of that? But I want to, because they were filming it. If you have the video, please, I want to see. I don't want to see you getting ran over by a truck. I just want to see the human marvel of someone surviving a truck's weight for a fraction of a second going over. I just can't get
just
over
to know
it.
that it's okay.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. Let's see who else is going to die here.
Brittany Amber.
I want one of these with a twist ending where it's like, and I actually did die.
Dude, it's coming.
Oh yeah. All right. Kind of traumatic. This is Brittany Amber. Beautiful name also. All these beautiful names coming through here. Kind of traumatic, but last winter I got into a car accident. I was on my way back to work and slid on ice, wrapped my car around a tree. I can barely wrap a present. I didn't pull out.
Well done.
I remember saying, "Oh no, oh no, oh no," to myself as the car was sliding across the road. I also had to climb over the passenger side and kick the door open because my side was crushed. Once the cops and rescue team got there, they told me I should have died, and my seatbelt saved my life. So always use your seatbelt. Thank you you know, and I'm glad you said that. I used to have a friend who. Oh, and here's a picture. Oh my god.
Yeah, this car is wrecked.
Scroll back up. Look at that. What if she was just leaning to? And you guys, I'm looking at a picture. It looks pretty much just like the story explained. You can see where the tree was, and the tree is wrapped around where the like the indent of the tree where the car wraps. Does the armpit of the end of the wrapping, so to speak, is right at the driver section. So if she was just leaning in, to her left slightly, she would have something would have hemorrhaged or popped.
I can't even believe that someone can be in that car and survive it. It's like the tree's there where your seat was.
Oh, look at the back seat. I feel like maybe it's just the perspective. The back seat looks like your knees would be shattered. Anyways, I would also like to stress the importance of wearing a seatbelt. I don't know. This is just me personally. I'm not trying to speak on behalf of what most people think, but I don't know. I've heard of a lot of people who have died by not wearing their seatbelt, and I've seen footage of. Like, did you know that if one person in the car isn't wearing the seatbelt and it gets into a wreck, like that body can fly around the entire cabin and kill everyone else in the car?
Oh, I hadn't thought about that.
Maybe not kill everyone else, but the body, if you watch a video of like GoPro footage
it's
of
140-pound projectile now in your car too.
Yeah, exactly.
Makes sense.
And I once saw a video of a guy. It was like a 2-second accident, but he like goes from like the driver's seat to the passenger seat to the back seat, both sides, and like would have like ran into all the people if there were people sitting in that car. And I used to get into this debate all the time with my friend in college about wearing a seatbelt, and he said no. Apparently he's not the only person either, because apparently a lot of people think that if you don't wear your seatbelt, you can get thrown to safety. And
that is false. Yeah.
I want to see that video. If there's a video, if anyone knows of one, I would love to see it, because I've had this argument with so many people where they're like, no, not wearing your seatbelt's actually safer because you just get thrown out the window to safety. I'm like, what is safety? Oh, you're in a metal cage. Like, stay in the fucking metal cage until the ride has come to a complete stop and then climb out. Jesus Christ, because what if you get thrown into a fire hydrant or a church party? Anyways. All right. Bobby Nugget has our next almost death story. Bobby Nugget, let's see how you almost passed away. I once went on a crappy carnival ride. I went to the drop zone that they had. I got on it and they put the rusty bars over me and clicked it in. I went up, and when I came back down, it unclicked and I flew up. I reacted quickly and grabbed the seat below me and pulled myself down before I flew off. The ride was off for the rest of the day. I certainly would hope so. Back on the next day when I drove by. Holy shit.
Yeah, that's a super nightmare. That
is a big nightmare, to be on a roller coaster. And it's crazy is I've seen videos on YouTube where that has happened, where, the thing, those carnival rides are...
Look at who's running it. Oh, it's not a doctor. It's not a mechanic. It's just a human.
I know. The carnival rides are my biggest heartbreak, because I used to love going on those things. And when YouTube came out and I started saying how people would die on these things all the time, they scared me. And carnival rides really are quite janky. They're put together, but I still go on them.
Me too.
I still do.
Not.
I can't not. And it's like, of all the people riding this today, if someone's going to die, is it going to be this ride out of all the rides? And is it going to be me, my seat, out of all the seats on my ride? It's like the odds of it, not so much. And if it is, I certainly hope I look good when I hit the ground. Anyways, this next one comes from Lynn.et.666. I think it's supposed to be Lynette. But anyway, here's my near-death experience. I just wanted to get high with my friend. Oh,
Fair enough.
Yeah, don't we all? But she was busy, so she hooked me up with a friend of hers. Oh, it's a good friend.
Okay.
All right, substitute friend. Little did I know, it was a random man that I'd never met before who drives a big white creeper van.
What the fuck?
Kind of dick. So I get in his car, and he seems pretty chill. So I let him I let my guard down a little bit. Then I get to his house, and he tells me his room is in the basement, which spooked me a little bit. How old is this guy, Jonathan, do you think?
He sounds 24.
He sounds
and
like
she sounds 16.
Well, yeah.
I don't like it.
I don't like where it's going. I don't like where this is going. So his room's in the basement, a little spooky. He takes me into the room in the farthest back corner of the basement. And to my surprise, it's just a normal bedroom.
Like, relief washed over me as it was not a dungeon.
Yeah, right, exactly. Oh God, really? You know what? Remind me to come back to this because I had watched a disturbing video, but I want to say after this.
Okay.
So he whips out his train-shaped bong. Oh, okay. For a moment, I'm trying to train-shaped bong. That is a new term for penis I've never heard. And I'm like, oh, it actually was a train-shaped bong. And I take 2 hits, and I'm already fucked. Like, I can barely talk fucked. So I'm in this random man's house, high out of my fucking mind, not knowing what to do. Thankfully, I managed to get the words out that I wanted to go home, and he just drove me home. It probably doesn't sound that bad, but looking back, it was hella scary. My dear, I have been in your situation plenty of times. I have gotten high at so many weirdos' houses, and a lot of times I thought I was going to die. That is not going to happen anymore, though, because I was recently with my friend David, and we were watching videos we fell down, actually just the other night, we fell down a YouTube hole, and it was like shocking videos. Oh no, it started with Vines, compilations, and then went to shocking compilations, and then we went into disturbing, what was it? It was like disturbing, it was the top 10 most disturbing things that happened in 2018, omitting the obvious ones that made the headlines. It was like trying to shine light on the top 10 that you didn't hear of that happened. Mm-hmm. And like one of them was this guy who just like would bring women into his basement and like verbally abuse them until he murdered them. And like the video had like audio recordings of it. And,
oh
like,
my God.
And like I couldn't make it through the whole thing because it was... we're talking about reality here. This is not a movie. I can watch the most violent movie in the world, no problem. But when it's reality, I'm so squeamish. And I don't know. I hear about stuff like this and just it makes you really wonder. And the story, these are the stories we hear about. The stories we hear about are the only ones we tune into. And of those stories, those are the only ones that get reported or consented to be on televised or on YouTube. Right. And then beyond that, those are the only ones that are ever found or caught. And it makes you wonder how many people right now are in a basement getting fucking teeth pulled out or their Achilles heels slit open and fucked. Or how many people are in an attic right now for years? Or how many people? It's like what in just and it could be someone next door. It could be someone just down the street. It could be someone in a barn in the middle of nowhere. And I think about this shit constantly. And it's like
there are people in those dungeons right now.
Right now,
that get discovered later. Like, wow, they're there for 20 years.
Wow,
they're right now.
Right. Oh my God. Sorry. One last thing I have to say because I am on fire with this. I watched a video of this funeral home, and I want to say it was in Detroit. And it was a funeral home when they found babies in the ceiling, like dead babies, and they were in coffins. And some of them were in coffins, some of them were in trash bags, and they were just in the crawl space up there. And then the police were like, "Whoa!" And it was a funeral home that had been foreclosed for like I want to say a long, long time. Like I want to say months. It had been like just an abandoned building, and like people went in there like just chilling or whatever and just found this crawl space and they're just dead. And then the police were like, whoa, we had no idea about this. So then they searched all the funeral homes in that area. And there was another one, had nothing to do with the other funeral home, that also had dead babies hidden in it.
Why?
And they think apparently it's because like families that couldn't afford to bury the kids, like the funeral, they would just leave and the funeral home had nowhere to put them. And I guess they would leave them up there.
Oh my God.
Now this is just one type of, that way we uncovered these bodies. That's just and of all, like I said, of all the stories, this is, the ones that are televised, the ones that are even reported to the police. How many actual cases are happening right now of near-death experiences or death experiences locked up in someone's someone's like how many horrors.
These are the only ones that ended up getting exposed and uncovered.
And whenever I see the news stories about like these people were held in this house for 20 years, these people, it's always a house that looks like some nice white, clean American, like unthreatening neighborhood. It's a very it's not a house you would drive by and go, oh, there's bodies in there. It's a house you drive by and go, oh, I want to see what dinner's like there. You know, it's like, it's always, and so I hear about stories like Lynette, and that just scares the shit out of me.
That's fucked up. I can't take any more of that horror. Let's get back to near death.
Near death, yes. Yeah, let's get back to near death. That's enough horror. Anyways, I have this next one here is from Mew Mew Mulin,
who claims her name is Carrie.
I don't know. Mew Mew Mulin sounds nothing like Carrie. I have a real stupid near-death experience. This is Mew Mew Mulin, not me, Brandon. One time, my friend and I went camping in Oklahoma. We were probably 12 at the time, and we decided to go swimming in one of the lakes. Around where we were swimming were these huge slabs of stone, not heavy enough to where we couldn't pick them up, but heavy enough to where we sank if we relaxed our bodies. We wanted to see how deep we could go while holding on to these flat rocks. My dumbass decided to get this huge slab and place it over my chest before going under. I get to the bottom, about 6 or 7 feet under, and I realize I couldn't get the slab off my chest. It took me twisting my body and shoving the rock at the same time for it to get off right before I ran out of air. I was choking under the water for a bit before I got up to the surface, and my parents took me out of the lake and had me lay down just so I could breathe. Oh my God! I still don't think I've ever felt as scared as I did underwater. That is terrifying. It kind of piggybacking off of what yours. The thing we were talking about earlier, the scuba diving thing. That video, what was that video that we watched earlier? There's a submarine that almost hit the guy underwater. It was a video of a guy on a GoPro, and he's seeing the submarine propellers almost get him. Anything underwater is terrifying. Yeah,
and especially with underwater, it's like you elongate that moment of awareness and knowing that you're going to die, because it's like, well, I'm in a countdown right now till I run out of air. I'm in a countdown.
Yeah. Oh, fuck, I forgot. Okay, I have 2 near-death things. I have when I was 10 years old, I went to a diving pool in Vancouver, in Canada, and I went off the high dive, and I had never been on a diving board before, and let alone high dive, and I penciled into the water, and I sunk down so low that I remember hitting the ground, or my feet touched the ground of the diving end, and I remember thinking, like, I didn't take in enough air to come back up, and I remember just looking up and seeing the water, like I thought I was at the surface of the water, and I look up because I'm like, where's the top? And there's like another 10 or so feet of water above me, and I'm like ready to come out and take a breath, and I look up, and there's that much more I have to swim to. Oh fuck, I'm nowhere near the top. That's scary as shit, and that's So
damn, dude.
Glad she's alive. All right, we got this next one. Sergeant Funbun. Sergeant Funbun says, all right, so near-death experience. I haven't had many, so it might suck. Oh, okay, well.
Hey, be nice to yourself.
One time I was hanging out with my friend as a kid. We were both about 12 or 13, and we were burning random shit in his parents' fire pit.
You know,
the usual. Actually, I did that by myself, so at least you had a friend to do it with.
I didn't, but it sounds like fun.
It is fun. Do you have a fireplace? You moved around a lot. You ever had a fireplace?
Yeah.
It's so much fun to throw shit in there and just set it on fire. Because, it's a kind of a contained, safe danger.
I like throwing wax in.
Oh, wax can be fun. You watch it melt. It can all turn into water. He says, we're burning random shit in the fire pit, and I filled a big glass mug I found with gasoline.
Smart.
Okay.
Gasoline is flammable, so.
It is flammable, yes. I dumped that shit out full to the brim onto the fire, basically exploded towards us and caught half his yard on fire, and the nozzle of the gas can was flaming and shit. Oh my God. The wave of fire pretty much shot out from the fire in a radius of like 8 feet. Holy shit. Nothing too crazy, but nothing too crazy, like, my ass. You know exactly how crazy.
A real crazy story is like where all my friends died.
Yeah, right. And I was the one almost. Yeah, but yeah, that kind of shit.
For the record, don't pour a big cup of gasoline on a fire.
Yeah,
don't do that, gang.
This next one comes from Eduardo.
First off, Eduardo, you got to change your name.
I'm sorry. I tried doing the accent. This next one comes from Eduardo Portolima. Eduardo Portolima. Hey, Brandon, I'm Eduardo, and I am from... Let me just try. I sound so fucking white here. This next one comes from Eduardo Portolima. Hey, Brandon, I'm Eduardo, and I am a big fan from Brazil. My near-death experience happened when I was 8 years old. I discovered I was allergic to seafood. My throat simply closed after I had some crab soup. I passed out, I passed out after a while, and my face was so swollen that my left ear auditory nerve was severed, making me deaf in that ear. Oh my God, Eduardo, I'm so sorry. Holy shit. I woke up with an adrenaline injection in my chest.
Oh my God, just like you said, Brandon.
Oh, fuck. Allergies can kill, man. See you. Love the show. Wow, Jesus Christ. That is insane. I don't know what I mean. First of all, I am so sorry.
That sucks.
Seafood
Thank you for sharing.
Is delicious, and I'm so sorry that it's something that you have to... I personally love crab. I never had crab soup.
It's crab, it's lobster, it's shrimp. It's really all amazing.
Oh my God,
that's the worst part of this.
But holy shit, and it's like in that moment, I mean, I wish we had him on the phone right now, because I'd ask him, did you think you were going to die? I think the answer is yes, because I would. I was in that situation. What is going through your head? What is going through your head when you're in that moment? Do you start making peace with things? Do you start still trying to save your life? Do you give in?
Do you get any of the benefits that we were talking about? Or do you just like say, fuck?
Do you get any of the benefits we're talking about, or are you a monster?
Oh my God. No. Like, how crazy is that? Like, we're so like envious of these near-death experiences, and it's like most of them just like result in crippling damage and like no enlightenment and just like really fucking stressful.
I hate my friends more because they stopped hanging out with me ever since I can't walk. It's like, oh fuck,
yeah, like,
my quality of life is turd now.
Yeah, so rate your near-death experience. Like, would do again.
Enlightening.
Oh my God.
All right, we got one here from the Katie Show.
Oh yeah.
Let's see, near-death experience. I got ejected out of the back seat of a car when it rolled off the highway. Broke 16 bones. Thank you, Katie. I just like to say this goes to prove my point. You do not get thrown to safety. You get thrown to 16 broken Katie bones. I had a collapsed lung. Oh, I wasn't done reading this. A lacerated liver. It keeps going. And a cut on my inner thigh that almost killed me because of where it was. Holy shit. Yeah, because your inner thigh, there's a lot of blood vessels.
Artery.
And shit. Artery is going...
the biggest one.
Oh my God. I'm cringing so hard.
I know.
Anything to do with arteries, Jonathan, and I don't think I've told you this, but anything to do with arteries makes me cringe to a point where I'm no longer human.
Yeah. If blood squirts on screen, I'm like, get out of here.
Any artery stuff, neck, the wrist, armpit, the inner thigh, what's the one in the Achilles? What's the one down there?
In the Achilles?
Is that what it's called? Is there even an artery there?
No, I don't think so. That's just the Achilles tendon. You just don't want that sliced.
Ah, God, I'm like picturing it now.
This is fucked up. We're doing this wrong. We're doing this wrong in our brain.
You know what fucked me up? I'm sorry, I know this is tangential.
Katie fucked us up, dude.
But no, fuck you, Katie, for getting all these broken shit. But the fucking Hostel, that movie Hostel. Oh, I didn't know what an Achilles tendon was until I saw that movie, and now fuck that movie because it just scarred me for life.
For real.
Anyways, let's see what happened to her. So she was ejected out of the backseat of a car. Scrape, cut, 16 bones. She basically, any one of these things could have killed her. The liver, the collapsed lung. Holy shit. I mean, I fear each of these things individually.
Yeah.
Now, she got them all in less than 2 seconds. I somehow managed to stay conscious the entire time. Oh my God, Katie, I'm so sorry. Could have been
the ecstasy. Could have been the ecstasy. Oh my God.
Could have been the exactly. That doesn't say ecstasy. Could have been the ecstasy. Well, Katie, not only are you a trooper, but you also know how to party.
So this was like the best feeling lacerated liver and punctured lung and 16 broken bones ever.
Or the worst buzzkill. What a waste of ecstasy. Jesus Christ.
That's the real crime here.
Yeah, no, the whole way to the hospital in the ambulance, I remember an Asian guy and a redhead girl paramedic. There was another guy sitting beside my head. A few years later, when I was in the middle of the lawsuit for this accident, I got the ambulance report. There was a female name and an Asian guy's name on the report. No mention of the man beside my head, but I didn't think anything of it until a few years later I was sent pictures of my biological family. She's adopted. And I was going through the pictures, and I saw the man who was beside me in the ambulance, my biological grandfather, who had died a few years before the car accident. Wow, that is very intense. That'd make a good movie.
Yeah.
Or opening to an episode of something.
Freaking me out.
Yeah, hold on to that story because that is a money maker. That's interesting. Oh,
don't give us the rights to it.
Don't give us the rights to it, and certainly claim the rights to it. This next one comes from a girl named Erkson, which I'm assuming is Erin with an X instead of an I. My near-death experience was a physical fight with my mom's friend, and we were extremely shit-faced, and she really had it in for me. But wow, I've never fought any of my mom's friends. All my mom's friends love me.
Holy shit.
Like, I feel like mom's friends are just the most loving people. I've never heard of like a mom's friend being an antagonist
that wants to fight me.
Yeah. Well, maybe, I mean, you and I are both guys, and I feel like mom's friends are usually a bit more like, I don't know. I always feel like because I'm a boy, they treat me more cute. Like, oh, he's a cute, handsome little boy. He's a little cute.
We also come from like really white middle class areas, and I don't, not to make many assumptions, but it's like we come from like places of conflict avoidance.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, totally. I feel like where you and I, it sounds like you and I both came from a place of very structured. Yeah, middle class,
repressed,
and just don't step out of line too far. You know, don't make a confrontation. Just walk away, and just we're mature.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's at least what I was raised to believe. It's just tempting to.
That's what I was raised to think I was being raised as.
That's exactly. I have a hard time walking away though. I like to run away. No, anyway, so she said so she's getting in a fight with her and her friend's mom. Oh my God, I wonder what got us to this point. We were extremely shit-faced, and she really had it in for me, but I don't take any shit off anybody, and I was definitely not taking hers either. But she started beating up her boyfriend, who was only trying to calm her down. And it really set me off, so I pushed her off him, and she starts to come for me. She threw me on the ground, sat on me, you're a lucky lady, and proceeded to strangle me. And she had that much of a grip on my neck that I had to uppercut her with my legs and feet, and I ended up breaking her hand and finishing her with a couple of punches. Finishing her. I love it. It was such dramatic verbiage. And I had a really bad bruising on my neck, and I had to go to the hospital because I was all sore, and my really close friend was really worried. And he drove me to the hospital. But when you're 17 and you live in Scotland, you really do have to stick up for yourself. Well, you know what?
Oh my
Aaron,
God.
I got it. Yeah. I just want to say, I forgot how florid high school, like teenagers are with writing. When I was a teenager, I would write very, very florid and descriptive stories as well. And I see a lot of these kids, I'm assuming a lot of this sound like they're in high school, college age, and they're quite colorful with the narrations. And then I read Chicken Soup for the Teenage Soul when I was in high school because I had no friends. That's what I feel like what the kids read when you
And in the 90s, early 2000s, like you need to feel good. Like that's one of the only things that catered to that.
Right. Chicken Soup for any soul should have just been a book franchise called "So You've Hit Rock Bottom. Here's a book." but no, I remember the Chicken Soup for the Teenage Soul was written by teenagers, and it was so dramatic in the way that things were written. I miss that. I wish adults wrote more like that. I wish journalists wrote more like that, and not just Fox News. Anyways, let's see. We got another one.
Yeah.
Charlie West. When I was 4 years old, I was busy playing with my toys in my bedroom, which was on the top floor of a set of flats I lived in at the time. My window was one of the ones that flipped 360 degrees. Now, 4-year-old Charlie wanted to look out the window that just so happened to be open at the time. I leant against the window, and it gave way, and I fell out. The window spun fast enough to slam on my feet, so I was left hanging by my feet. Weirdly enough, I'm picturing this.
Yeah.
It's very well written. Again,
indeed.
Very well written.
I know exactly what this looks like.
The window, for those of you who are having trouble picturing, I'm imagining it's one of those, well, I can't describe it any better.
It spins at the center.
If you don't have a picture of what he's just described, then that's on you, because I can't describe it any better. But it latched his feet as he fell out. He's dangling. 4 years old. Wow.
Yeah.
It's quite hilarious. So I was left hanging by my feet. I screamed for my mom to come up and help me, but she was having a shit at the time. so I was stuck for about 5 minutes. I'm sorry, Charlie. And of course, his name was some innocent English-sounding name, Charlie. She went and finished and came into my room to save me. Now I am shit scared of heights. Well, I don't blame you.
And have a complicated relationship when people take shits.
Right. When his mother takes a shit. Yeah. It feels complicated about it. Holy shit. So you're just hanging there. I wonder if he felt like what was going through his head? Like, is this it? What if mom had gone to the store? What if mom was hanging out with her friend down, yeah. You're fucked, Charlie.
It happens that fast.
And that must be so uncomfortable for your feet to be caught in a window. And for that uncomfortable grip on your ankles to be what is holding you between life and death.
Yeah.
Oh, God. All right.
Fuck me.
Oh, and we got a response back from Sophia, the girl who jumped out and got ran over by a truck. She says, "Oh, I'm okay now. It happened over the summer." I'm thinking she's going to say, "Oh, I'm okay now. It happened like 6 years ago."
I know.
It happened over the summer.
Like, I'm almost out of the hospital.
I'm almost out. Right.
It's fine.
A couple pulled over and asked if I was all right because I was laying in the middle of the street. The dude I was with told them I was having an asthma attack. Well, he's a quick thinker. I'll hand him that. Maybe not the best.
And he's great at escaping being in trouble for...
You know what? Actually, I take that back. That is a very good friend. If I was doing some stupid shit for a video, which is a weekly occurrence for me, and I got severely injured, I would hope that if any officials came or if anyone came and someone said, "Oh my God, how did this guy get hurt?" It better be because I'm having a fucking asthma attack or I slipped on a there better be some story, not we were making a video and it's like, so whoever your friend is, good on him or him.
But if I were that friend, I'd be like, she's having an asthma attack and needs to go to the hospital. Not like everything's fine.
Everything's fine.
Move
Go
along.
away. Move along. Nothing to see here. Yeah. All right, let's do one more story here. Let's do one more. Who do we got? This is Jenna.exe, like a file. My near-death experience is a bit strange. I was actually dead for 4.5 minutes. I didn't believe in a god or anything at the time, and I still don't, but I still don't have an explanation for what I saw when I was dead. All I remember before I died was just lying in the hospital bed. 3 nurses conversing in the doorway of my hospital room. I stare up at the light above my bed, just letting my mind wander. Suddenly, I get this strange sense of déjà vu. It felt warm and familiar, like dreamy, yet wide awake. Zoned out, but focused. I watch my eyes begin to close. I quickly realize I'm falling asleep, and I try to open my eyes, but I can't. I was losing control of my body. I felt my heart rate slow, and my hands go numb. First, it was just nothing. Like when you sleep without dreaming. No black or white or anything I can remember, but it was just nothing. Then my vision flashes to white. Like when you open your eyes after taking a long nap. I was walking in downtown Detroit. I remember the place, my favorite little neighborhood to walk in just outside the main tourist areas. It was strange. I had this unconscious understanding of where I was and what was happening. I knew I was dead, but I was okay with it. I knew I was still in my hospital bed, but that was all right. I just felt so free and at home. Like I could just do anything. Not reality anything, but anything. So I let my mind wander. The first thing I thought of was a paperclip, something so small and insignificant, yet so useful and practical. I looked at my feet and saw one. I dreamt up so much random shit that I can't remember now, but I remember the feeling. Real freedom and peace, genuine calmness. It was indescribable. I opened my eyes again to nurses surrounding me, all anxious. I hear my heart rate monitor start to beep again. The whole room felt like it sighed with relief. It was a super great and weird-ass experience, but hella cool. Holy shit.
Do not recommend.
I have heard that death feels good. or that feels not good, but the experience of everyone's experience that I've heard who has been dead and has come back and lived to tell the tale. They say that that they weren't necessarily excited to come back to this living plane of existence, or that they say that when they die, they feel things they feel like it's familiar, like whatever they felt in this moment was familiar. It's funny, she said there's a familiar place that she had visited once before that she was at, and I don't know. I have fallen down the YouTube hole of watching people like proof of consciousness after death. I'm fascinated with that. Where there have been incidences in the past where they've hooked up wires to people's brain, or they monitor the brain is alive in different sections, and people have been in surgery and they have had times where all sections of the brain were dead for several minutes, and the person comes back able to describe things or phrases that were said or took place in the operating room during that moment of total brain deadness. And that kind of stuff fascinates me. I've never seen a video of anyone come back from the dead and say, "Oh, it's terrible over there." Oh, it was always like, "Oh, it was colorful, it was peaceful, it was familiar." And it was almost like, "Oh, I have to go back. It's not my time yet. I got to go back to here." And it is weird. I gotta say though, I'm personally very afraid of death. Yeah. Very, very,
personally would love to keep living.
I think I have never had this much to live for in my life. Like up to this moment, like I've had when I was working at a law firm, I really was fine if I died. Like I wasn't suicidal, but I was in a mindset where I didn't have much to live for. I knew I didn't have much to live for. And at the time, at 27 years old, 28 years old, if I don't have anything close to what I want to live for, then there's no point. Like death was not that scary of a thing for me.
That's a very interesting point.
Yeah. And now I'm absolutely horrified at the thought of dying because I've never been more in love with life. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
And yet you were wrong to feel the way you did, in my opinion, because it's like what you were out of touch with was the potential for a change, the potential that your life could become this. Yeah. Even if you don't have things like that you really love and or what you want to be living for right now, like you can create that in your life.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And I think a lot of stuff, shifted. I got dumped, and I got and I got
relatively short term tragedies, things that really suck to go through.
Exactly. Yeah, it was very, very, and then, and it wasn't a near-death experience, but it was an experience that shifted my priorities into living the life I want to live. And now I am afraid of death. Mm-hmm. And now I am living the life I want, which means that when I do see a car run a red light and almost hit me, I do get a little bit more afraid. I do get a little bit more nervous when, I don't know, I'm walking in a bad part of town and my phone dies. And I just it's interesting, and I don't know. I think that death is death is something that I can never quite come to terms with. It's something ever since and why is it that kids are so comfortable with it? Like kids are so okay with the idea of death, and I feel like as we get older, I feel like adults are far more afraid of death than a child is. You know what I mean? Or not, maybe not afraid of death, but the idea of it. Kids will talk about death and joke about death all the time. Guns and, "Oh, I'm dead. He killed me." Like they understand what it means to be dead, that life is no longer existing within this body.
Right. But they don't, they don't really understand.
They don't really, I guess they don't comprehend. They understand the actual biological effect of death, but not the effect of loss, I suppose. Yeah,
exactly. They don't feel collapsed potential.
Collapsed potential. There we go. And that's the. And so maybe that's just it. As you grow older, you understand more and more of what life can offer, and you understand more and more of what it means to lose that. And what's so tragic is that you hear about kids in high school killing themselves. When I was in high school, we had 2 or 3 people in my class who killed themselves.
Damn.
And it's my life didn't become amazing until I was fucking 27, 28 years old. And it's those kids who killed themselves, what if they had stuck it out another year, 2 years, another 20 years, and their life became amazing? It's it sucks because, you're right, collapse potential. It's just like that early death. I don't know.
It's really hard to. I mean, you're right on. It's hard to communicate that to someone who's like in the depths of feeling that way, and it's like you give it time. Like with more time, you can build things for yourself. You can build out your whole world.
So true. Yeah. And that certainly is, I want to say it's almost like it is a form of a near death. Well, it is a near death experience. Yeah. The act of almost, or decide, even just thinking of it. But, no, I think that life is definitely like, we forget how valuable it is. We forget how, precious time is, because we're given,
time is everything.
Time is every opportunity you can think of. And it's such a currency. It's such a valuable thing. And I don't know, every day that I'm not working, if I'm staying home, if I'm not doing anything, I feel I start to get this itch. And there are not to say I don't do that. There are days where I just do nothing and I just stay home. And at the end of the day, I'm left laying there thinking in my head, what could I have done with that day? I could have gone for a hike and the Beverly Center, and I could have finished these emails, and I could have written this script, and I could have edited this thing. I could have done all those things. And it's like,
well, if I think that I have infinite time, then that doesn't really matter. But when you start to realize, like, I don't have infinite time. I don't know how much time I have.
Right. No one does.
So whatever I do, I better spend wisely.
You know what's another interesting thing regarding that is when I went on the tour this year, every time we came back to LA, because there were times where we were just gone every week. And whenever I would come back to LA, especially if I was gone for more than a week, I felt this sense of, yeah, as soon as I get back, like I'm landing in the airplane and I'm thinking, as soon as the Uber drops me off back at home, I'm going to cook my favorite meal. I'm going to go to this. I'm going to hang out with these friends. It's like everything you love to do when you're home suddenly becomes so much more rich, and you're so much more eager to do it when you come back from a vacation or come back from a tour or come back from whatever you were gone on. And it makes me then wonder, like, what if, I don't know, I like to hypothetically put myself in this situation of like, imagine if I had been dead for a year. Right. Or just like, but like consciously dead. Like if I'm in this afterlife place for a year thinking, God, it's almost like, what if I was on vacation for a year? God, I miss this friend. I miss this person. And I try and live every day as if I'm coming back from, oh, wait, Brandon, we'll give you one more day to be alive. What would you do? Fun. I come back and I'm just like, oh my God, okay, I need to hit up these people. I need to go have drinks at this place. And then I need to go buy weed from this old guy that I haven't talked to in forever. And I need to do these things because I missed being alive and I missed all these things. It's like an Ebenezer Scrooge kind of reality or a realization, that he gets at the very end. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, just this last year with the traveling and coming back, it kind of taught me how to think like that while I'm not even traveling, like while I'm in town. Just kind of always remind myself, Brandon, if I was gone for, a week or a year, like I came back and today, what would I want to do? And that kind of helps put a fire under my ass to like go and do stuff. Because it's true.
That's wise shit, dude.
It has helped me so much. It helps me be happier overall because
that's true.
I feel like just going out of that, like for me, for instance, like a day off, the perfect way to enjoy my life is hiking, or I'll get a cheap ass massage at that Chinese place, or I'll just go to my favorite restaurant, or go for a walk, go to the gym, hang out with friends, smoke a little weed. And that is what life is, just enjoying the little things. And I don't know, I feel like the near-death experiences or death being on our mind, I don't know, they should hopefully be reminders that those little tiny joys are not necessarily expensive and they're not hard to find. We're just too lazy to do them. And they suddenly seem like so many missed opportunities when we almost lose potential for future opportunities like that forever. And so, yeah, death is, I think in this day and age of YouTube where we see examples of near-death experiences, we understand, this isn't where our parents, passed, where they only hear about these things through either movies or books, or we get to see what a real near-death experience looks like, and we get to understand the reality, how close that is to us and how possible it is for us to die.
Yeah, and we should let that knowledge in. And thank you everyone for sharing these experiences.
Yes. Thank you guys so much for sharing these. I hope that you certainly, use death as a positive driving force to make better choices with your life and to spend your time more wisely, because hopefully a near-death experience or worse is not going to be. Hopefully this episode is going to be your first initial call to action to just start living or enjoying the time you have a little bit more, and hopefully not
ramp it up, like level up your spending time wisely.
And if it takes a near-death experience for you to learn that, then so be it. I just do it safely. Don't actually die.
Please, that'll be a near death.
Near death, not actual death. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for listening. I have had a great time, and we survived this podcast.
Hey, if we survive this,
we can survive any episode. Thank you so much for listening, ladies and gentlemen, and until next time, survive.